How is it going, everybody? It is time for patch 12.4. I got something a little different this week, though. You want to say hello?
Hi, I am not Tyler. I am Raeann. I am Dean's fiance.
Yeah, so I think I mentioned last week, or we mentioned that Tyler, it's actually his birthday tomorrow, the 16th. My man is turning 30.
Woo!
And he is going to take a vacation. He is going to Disneyland. He's going to some concerts, and he is a lucky bitch. And I know you're listening to this, so happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Tyler. Old man.
So today, Raeann is going to give me a hand going through patch notes. You play League.
Sometimes, mostly ARAMs.
But, it's okay. I got her into League, and, unfortunately, I got her into League. But, she plays, so she understands the game to a certain point, and she's gonna do a great job today helping me out, so.
I'm mostly emotional support, but I'm here.
So what we're going to do first, as always, is go over last week's Q&A and poll. And our Q&A was, what do you think the longevity of League of Legends is? How long do you see yourself playing? Let me ask you that first. We're in the 12th season. Mm-hmm. How long do you think this game has longer? Do you think it's going to keep going?
Yes. I think it'll keep going. I mean, they make it interesting enough where it's changing like ever so often. So I mean, you've been playing it for what, 6 or 7 years?
Yeah, seven years.
So I mean, there's even people that have been playing it even longer than that. So as long as it's still changing, I think it has many years to come.
And do you see yourself playing for many years to come?
As long as you're playing, I probably will too. So yes.
And guess what? I'm always going to be playing.
Exactly.
So we have Captain Joshy wrote in and said, considering I left the game 8 years ago, I don't know why you came back, and recently came back, and it's stronger than ever. I think this game has a long way before it dies. Yeah, I mean, like we said, the game is changing so much, and they keep it so fresh. I mean, you think of games like... Anything else I can compare it to is like Call of Duty. Call of Duty's been around for a while. Their games are really fucking stale, and those are literally the same games every year. So, I think, yeah, this game is here for a very long time. I know the one thing we were talking about last week, is what happens when they just come out with too many champions? Like, how are they going to maintain this game when there's 200 plus champions? I think we're just about to hit 159 with Renata coming out this patch. So, yeah. I mean, I want to know why you left. What made you stop playing 8 years ago? Maybe it was just probably life. Didn't have time to play games on the computer.
Maybe found a better game.
they're out there.
Maybe put time into something else and
work on
forgot
yourself.
about it.
Got a job, maybe went to school, did something productive, then play this dog shit. Okay, anyways. So that was Captain Joshy, and then Sean also wrote in and said the game in its current state, I reckon, could go on for a long time. For me, it's become a game where I can catch up with friends outside of work, outside our work life, and they can feel the same. Yeah, I mean, I've met a few people on here that I play with regularly. One of my other friends, Steven, married a girl he met on League. And that's crazy. That's amazing.
It's amazing.
No, for sure. I mean, especially for casual players, I think I consider myself a little more than casual. Would you say you're casual?
Yes, because I probably play like a couple times a week, but sometimes I can go weeks without playing it at all. So
Plus, in comparison to how much money I spend on this game versus her, that should say something. So thank you guys for writing in. And then this week's question, something kind of simple, just to get us through the week, is realistically, if you could delete one champion from the game permanently, who would it be and why? Do you have anybody comes to mind? Any champion you really, really fucking hate?
I'm trying to think if there's someone that I don't like that much.
And I'm being serious. A lot of people are like, oh, Teemo. I think Teemo could stay in the game.
I feel like a lot of people would go towards, like, was it Yoni?
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Yoni.
I feel like I hear it pronounced like a bunch of different ways, but Yoni or like Yasuo or like Katarina or something.
Katarina is an interesting one just because the champion just is fucking annoying. And a lot of the times it's just a bunch of button mashing and you just instantly get a pentakill. And there's just so many ways you can build this champion that I don't understand how Riot can balance keeping
like that.
I mean, she probably doesn't have an insane win rate, but like if you go against a good Katarina player, you don't want to go against a good Katarina player. They're fucking tough. So yeah, what champion would you want to delete from the game and why? And then we'll go over the poll from last week, and it was 3 options. It was, what would you prefer Riot does of the following? Prioritize creating new champions. Prioritize champions that need full gameplay and visual/audio updates. Or prefer that they just get rework champions that just need audio and visual. So like, there's some champions, like for example, what they did with Caitlyn, where her entire kit is the same thing, but all they did was updates and voice lines because Arcane came out.
Okay.
She literally had like 4, like I'm trying to think of another, like I know I always say this, like Vi has probably like 6 voice lines. Jinx probably has like 10 voice lines. 50% said prioritizing champions that need just visual and audio updates, which between the two, I would prefer reworking older champions, like how they did, like they're doing with Udyr right now. They're going to bring him into 2022. Because there's champions that, like if you compare them, there's champions that can fly around the map, and then Udyr, all he does is run at you, and that's it. So 50% chose just visual and audio updates, and then 33% want full gameplay and visual audio updates, so full on rework. And then 17% said prioritizing creating new champs. I mean, it's tough because if they just singly like were updating old champions, the game's not going to get new, or it's not going to feel as new.
That's true.
They're not going to, they push new champions, they come out with new skin lines, that's how they make money. I think we had someone last week, maybe it was on one of the Reddit posts, that was saying that new champions bring in new players, and I don't think that's true.
I mean, I guess it could be if people see something that's a little more intriguing, they're like, oh, okay, maybe I should try this game. But I think focusing on like updating the champions that they already have is something they should do, because there's probably a lot of champions out there that aren't even relevant anymore. I mean, Aurelion Sol.
Yeah, Aurelion Sol is a dumpster fire.
I mean, and also still like making new champions, but I feel like they focus a lot more on that than they do like updating the champions they already have.
Because that was one of the things that like made us talk about that last week is Zeri came out in January, and now we already have another new champion within a month.
Yeah, especially since I don't play the game like as often as you do. It feels like every time I do start playing it again, there's like 5 champions I've never even been in a game with before. And I don't even know what they do because I don't play that often. And I'm like, yeah, who are you?
And then like, as far as like, I don't know if you ever knew this, but with League lore, up until I think it was season 6 where they did the overhaul, but old lore, there was a thing called the Institute of War, and summoners summoned champions from these regions to fight on behalf of their regions. That was lore.
Okay.
So like summoners players were like powerful, that would be like, okay, I choose Darius to fight for Noxus.
Okay.
That was what lore. They completely got rid of that. So even though we fight on Summoner's Rift, that doesn't, like, there's no summoners anymore in League lore. They have all champions have their own backstories and whatnot. And then there are, I think, 5 or 6 champions that still use summoner in their dialogue. I don't know.
There's a lot of them.
If you recognize that, like Misfortune says, like, watch your steps, summoner, or something like that. I'm like, they need to get that shit. That shit needs to get fixed, put out of the game. Like, why? Come on. So, thank you for participating in that poll this week. Our poll is, while we're on the topic of them introducing new champions, should they increase the number of bans? Right now it's 10. One per player in the game, so 10. my problem is what happens when they get to 200 champions? You know, that's granted, that's probably years away. But like, if the game keeps going, what happens when there's 500 champions? Like, there's no, it just doesn't sound realistic to me.
Yeah.
Unless they come out with League of Legends 2, which I don't think they will.
I guess you just have to think that not every champion is going to be like relevant during like that patch, so then you're not going to have to like you're not going to have to ban like a bunch of different champions, but
I think right now about 100 and I think again I'd have to look it up, but I believe we're at 159 with Renata. Just what about 2 more bans? Make it 12. 1 extra 6 on each team. You know, before it only used to be 6 per game.
maybe they could do it where if it was an extra one per team, the team would have to like agree on it.
You know,
something.
one thing I did see someone suggest on Reddit is make it unique bans. Because sometimes when each teams are banning, be like, oh, I don't want to play Yone, and then someone on the other team bans Yone as well. They should make it so it's unique. 10 unique. I think that might be a solution.
I wonder how they'd be able to do that.
I don't know. If they add
it is a good idea though.
If they somehow put that in the client would probably break even more than it is right now.
Yeah.
So
completely unplayable.
So yeah, guys, and of course on top of that, why doesn't everyone just wish Tyler Chaney a 30th birthday, because he needs it. He's 30. I'll be 30 in like 5 months.
And I'm like 50, so
You're
know.
Not. All right, so here we go. I don't think, have you ever read patch notes?
No.
Okay.
I only ever know what you tell me and then what I hear you guys talking about, so.
Meaning all the shit that I bitch about.
Yes.
And complain about.
I hear about the crazy things, but I don't think I've ever, like, read them just out of curiosity.
So we come down here, they're gonna, first up, they're gonna give us a little, like, preview. These are all the things that are changing. One thing I look at is Blitzcrank is getting a nerf, which is very odd. I don't know why. I don't ever see this. I hardly see this champion. And apparently, so they have it color coded. So like orange is iron to gold, purple, whatever the fuck that color is to diamond, platinum. And then I don't know why Blitzcrank is tagged for pro play. I don't ever see that champion in pro play.
Interesting.
Maybe
in
once
other like regions at all, maybe that you don't watch as often, or
I must be then. So yeah, we got a few nerfs across the board. Zeri is probably the big one because fuck that champion.
Isn't she new?
She's new, but she was overpowered. A lot of times when champions are released, they purposely overpower them because it's a lot easier to pull back on their power creep, how much damage or whatever they can do. Then we got a handful of nerfs coming through. We got some support item changes, which is due to the top lane smite support, which I think I've been telling you about, which is mainly for pro play because I don't see that in my games.
You say there was like a Janna top lane?
Yeah, that's the most broken champion doing it, because Janna is, I mean, you're just a support. Supports don't take that much gold to come online. Janna has a fuck ton of movement speed, so she can just literally gets level 3 and then doesn't ever go back top lane again. Just runs around. So
nice.
And then on top of that, of course, Renata is coming out and a whole array of new skins. All right, so yeah, Renata comes out on the 17th. Can't wait to play that broken champion. JK banning the shit out of her. I'm kind of excited. She seems like a total badass. And I can't remember the last, I know Tyler and I were talking about this, can't remember the last actual enchanter that came out. I can't remember if I've told you this, but she is an enchanter.
She's a support?
Yeah, so she's a support primarily. They have her abilities basically coded that she has to be in a lane with someone.
Oh, okay.
She gets benefits. But, you know, if you guys want to go read all her shit, just head over to the League website or on Reddit, you'll see, or the YouTube, and you get a breakdown of all her videos. I think her spotlight will come out soon. So first, we got Aatrox. And I feel like a lot of these changes are going to be very subtle. Whenever I see a lot of changes, I'm like, okay, they're just barely touching these things. So first off is Aatrox, the Q sweet spot bonus damage increase. I don't think you've ever played Aatrox.
No.
But do you know what he does basically? He does a bunch of like flips and stuff where he slams his sword onto the ground.
Okay, yeah.
So
I've
his
seen that
Q
before.
can be used 3 times in succession. So he Qs once and he slams his sword on the ground. When you use the ability, there's a highlighted area of his Q, and if you hit your target with that, it does bonus damage.
Okay.
But if you hit it, like if it's out of that sweet spot, it doesn't do as much damage. So they're increasing.
So it's easier to get the sweet
It's
spot.
going to do extra damage.
Okay.
So it's going to do, originally it would do 150 bonus damage. It's getting bumped to 160. So it does 10% extra damage. Nothing too crazy, but Aatrox is a champion that, if that champion gets going, you're never going to fucking kill that thing. He's going to heal out the ass. I used to play a lot of Aatrox, so
I remember that.
I welcome this, because I can play some more, especially with changes to these other items from last patch that are very good on him. So yeah, I mean, short and simple. Aatrox. There's not a lot of fighter champions to top lane. Usually I see there's champions that and it'll probably bring back champions like this just because the Smite Janna Smite top lane support is getting nerfed pretty hard. So you're gonna see probably champions like that come back. Moving to Amumu. E base damage reduction increase. So last patch they nerfed it a little bit and now they're bringing it back up.
Okay.
So I know you've played Amumu.
Yes.
And
his times I cry all over the place.
You cry on those hoes.
Yes.
So his E is the little thing that it's called Tantrum, that he twirls around basically.
Okay.
You have the Q is the bandage, the W is the cry, the E is a Tantrum, where he just kind of, it looks so bad in game. He probably needs a visual update on that ability, but he just kind of like struggles around in a circle. But passively, just by having that ability, you have damage reduction. So basically, when you look at this, it has, these are the levels. So you level up 5 times. So at rank 1E, you get 5 base, 5 flat, plus 3% bonus armor and 3% bonus magic resist damage reduction. So the more tanky stats that you build, that scales into this. Okay. So like, say if you have 100 bonus armor and 100 bonus magic resist, 3% of both of those is 3. So then you would have the 5 plus 3 and 3, so you would have 14. So they're changing that a little bit. Just basically the base numbers are going up literally by 3 at each rank, which is nothing crazy, but
just a little bit.
Just a hair, because it also works. It's not just champions, because he's a jungler. He'll take reduced damage from jungle monsters, so it helps him jungle a little bit. So no big deal. I don't think Moon was a very good jungler, but yeah. Here's a champion I know you like playing a lot. Ashe. So, I remember seeing this one too. This one's pretty sick.
So her R gets sped up.
Yeah. So it goes. So missile speed is just how any ability, how fast it gets shot out.
Okay.
So it is changing. It's getting, the base number is going down by 100, but it adds 200 per second of travel time, max 2100. So if you're firing your arrow across the map, it's gonna be fucking zooming. Right? So if it flies for 3 seconds, it's gonna get the max amount of speed. That's fucking quick. Because normally you fire your arrow and it kind of takes forever to go across the map.
So potentially it could be harder to dodge. Like
exactly.
If you see it, then you have to like react to it as fast as you can.
It's going to be tough.
Yeah.
It's going to be fucking flying.
Especially if you're not aware of it in the first place.
The thing about playing it on ARAM too, if you fire it from base, it's going to be...
It's a way smaller map, so...
It's going to be fucking zooming down. That's pretty cool. I don't think Ashe is, especially in like normal games, is not very good. There's too many champions that outshine her, and this is probably not going to be enough, but it's a cool thing. I mean, I've seen people play Ashe support, so this might be a thing.
It could make it more of a thing, yeah.
But she's very utility based. She has a lot of like slows. She has the ulti. She has the E for vision. Tyler's gonna fucking love this because Tyler loves playing his Ashe support. So
I don't think I've ever played her as support.
I think on ARAM, I know on ARAM, when you use Blitz, it recommends you build support items.
Okay. I might have done that. I don't know. I think it's been a while since I've played her just in general, but
yeah, there's champions that are just way better at what she does. So moving on to Blitzcrank.
My favorite
Your favorite champion
of the whole entire game.
Literally nothing crazy. So his base health regen drops by 1. So when you look at these numbers, so it's going to go to 7.5. And whenever you look at that, it's health regen per 5 seconds. So when you see 7.5, that means over the course of 5 seconds, he regains 7.5 HP. Okay. So it's dropping by 1.
So not that bad. I don't know why they probably need to do that if it's so small.
It's a very insignificant change, and I'm not sure why. Just play Blitzcrank because people in fucking low elo cannot dodge skill shots for shit. And that thing in particular skins magnets to their target.
Yes, it does. There's been a lot of times where I've hit that and I shouldn't have gotten it at all. So.
Oh, you weave that motherfucker through minions sometimes. Mm-hmm. I can't remember if I ever told you this, but back, this is way before I was playing, but when back in the day with Blitzcrank, his Q was just a point and click. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like a skill shot. It would you'd literally click on a champion and it would grab the champion.
Nice.
It's fucking stupid.
They had to change that.
Oh, of course. All right, moving down to Dr. Mundo, who's also getting a nerf. 80 growth decreased. R cooldown no longer decreases with rank. Interesting. I had no idea. Okay. See, again, I have to go back up and see what this is targeted for. Because I feel like I don't ever see Dr. Mundo's. And he's not... It's for all ranks. I don't see him... God, I wish I could look up what his play rates are, but I don't feel like doing that. A lot of tanks in the game, tank items feel very weak. I think as far as tanks go, Ornn is probably the best tank just because he offers so much to your team. Like he can upgrade your items. Mundo just feels, because they reworked him last year, and I don't think, because he's all about healing. You hit his R and he just starts healing for like 15 seconds. I feel like he's not that tanky. He just kind of gets shit on, and he has his passive allows him to, it's like a spell shield for once every 45 seconds, but that's only for like hard CC. You can slow him and that won't, like, I don't know. It
doesn't do.
It's not very good. I don't think he's very good. He's still I just run at you and hope you can't run away from me.
Big tanky boy.
He's just not that tanky though.
Really?
He's not. So I don't know why. I guess obviously I don't work at Riot and I don't see these numbers because apparently he needs a nerf. But basically his attack damage per level is dropping by, and whenever I see these numbers, it's weird. It's dropping by 0.7. So when you level up in game, every level you gain stats. Your health, everything increases by level. So for him, every time he'd increase in level, he would gain 4.2 attack damage. That's dropping to 3.5 per level. Very small nerf. Literally nothing to like. So between levels one, this is something new that they did, just to make you help you easier understand. So through levels 1 through 18, you will start at 61. If you don't buy any items, you'll start at 61, and then by the time you hit level 18, that's how much attack damage you'll have without items. So you're losing 12. 12 attack damage is nothing. That's not going to do anything. The big one though is his ult cooldown is just because there's some abilities a lot of abilities that as you rank it up, the cooldown goes down, and that's one of the reasons why you in particular max an ability. So his ultimate is no longer receiving any flat or base cooldown. So like before, once you get to level 16 and you have your rank 3 ult, it would be at 90 seconds. It's staying at 110.
So that feels like it's pretty significant. Like,
no, it's 20 seconds. 20 seconds can make it or different. I mean, obviously there's items you can build that have cooldown reduction.
So that would still work with that?
So that'll work no matter what. But I mean, if you have 50% cooldown reduction, it's going to be better when it's half of 90 instead of half of 110. 20 seconds feels like a lot, but again, I don't think anybody's ever fucking playing Mundo. It's no big deal. Let's keep on going. So Alawi, which I think this champion is secretly overpowered, just because the few times I've played against Alawi, and you either have the choice when I don't know if you're familiar with her abilities. She has a one ability where she throws her tentacle out and it rips your soul out.
Yeah.
You literally you either have to make the choice of fighting her and you'll take extra damage, or running away, and then if you run out of the zone, you get slowed, and then tentacles will spawn around you and hit you for a few seconds. Secret OP. But they are increasing some base stats, so her base attack speed is going up by a little bit, which is pretty good. Early game attack speed is just a good stat on any champions. Lets you auto attack faster, especially in early game. You can hit. It'll feel more smooth when you try to kill a minion. So it's going up by a little bit. From, again, these numbers are so like, I don't think they need to go down to the like hundredth of a decimal, but 0.571 to 6.625. That's not bad. That's gonna feel good to auto attack with her. The big change though is to her W, bonus physical damage. So it has a base number, and then it also deals damage based on the target's maximum health.
So is the W where she takes the soul out of? No.
That's her E. So the W is just this kind of like little leap thing she does, and then she has an idol and she hits you with it. But it does a percentage of whatever. It does different damage to whatever you hit. So when you see champions that have max health, she says target maximum health. The more health your target has, the more damage it's gonna do. So if you're hitting a tank, you're gonna get like maximum damage out of this. Basically, though, all they're changing is they're doubling the scaling. So she does 2% extra per 100 attack damage she builds. That's what it is prior. Now it's getting 4%, so it's doubling. That's not bad. When you look at damage that scales with max health, that's a big thing when that percentage gets increased. And then I guess they had a bug fix. Let's see, fixed a bug where if Alawi died right after pulling an enemy spirit with E, nearby tentacles would not attack the spirit. I had no idea that happened.
Seems like a pretty big bug, like for that to happen in game.
I didn't realize. I see. I never knew that I thought when you died, all your tentacles just go away. But I guess if you have the spirit pulled out and you die, it's still gonna get slapped. I didn't know that, so I guess that's a good fix.
I feel like I noticed that, but maybe I'm just thinking that I did. I don't know.
I mean, it's probably happened. I haven't ever paid attention to it enough. All right. So Callista, again, very, very basic stat buffs. Her base armor is getting increased by 3.
All right. Well, a little bit.
Callista.
Is she really played that often?
She's very. Again, she's very niche. Is that the word? Yeah. So like, can be very oppressive in some instances. She's very good at taking dragons, but The problem is there's champions that are just so much better than her right now. Like, you look at, and she's a very early game champion. If she does not get going early, she's fucking useless.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, aside from Zeri, because Zeri is fucking broken, the other big champions that are getting played are Jinx, Caitlyn. These are champions that are decent early, and then as the game goes later and they get more items, they're very fucking hard to. They're very strong. They're very fucking strong, especially champions like Jinx. When you get a kill and you get sped up and you chase after them. Callista, they like doing little buffs like this because they don't want to like, oh, well, no, her Q does 4 million damage. They don't want to do that. They want to just increase the armor just a little bit to let her compete. I'm fucking dog shit at this champion. So this isn't.
So that means nothing to you because you're not gonna play her anyways.
She's very hard. She's weird. Her auto attacks, she jumps. You have to like right click on who you want to auto attack, and then right click again, and you hop around.
She's the one that like flings you.
Yeah, her ulti sucks you in and then throws you out.
That's such a trip whenever it happens because I don't play with her very often, but when I do, obviously it's usually on ARAM, and I'm like, I don't even know where to go when that happens. It freaks me out.
So, little extra armor. It's a good thing. It's not amazing, but it's not bad.
It's something, especially if people like playing her.
Mm-hmm. We got Lucian coming up. Q mana cost decreased. Okay, this is cool. So at rank 1, it's 2 less mana, which is nothing, but by rank 5, it's 10 mana cheaper. These changes are interesting because Q is the ability you level up first.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see that the mana is 10 less at rank 5, that's a good thing because that's the first ability I level up.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to feel 10 less mana. Granted, there are items that he builds this item called Essence Reaver that literally refunds mana when he auto attacks.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not terrible, but it's going to feel, as they say right here, you're going to feel a little bit better until you build that item.
So is he like considered a little more relevant in the game, or is he kind of not as played as often, like as Jinx and Caitlyn, like you were saying?
He used to be a very oppressive mid laner.
Oh.
He's but they changed him where he gets a lot of benefits from dueling with an enchanter. If he gets a shield, he basically does extra damage. But they nerfed him pretty hard. And he's another early game champion. He's a very like aggressive, like I'm gonna get up in your face and auto attack you and then kick you out of lane kind of thing. But he got nerfed. This is gonna feel good. This is pretty good. I'll take this. Less mana on ability is good. It's very good. And then we move down to Nami. E on hit damage reverted. So last patch she got nerfed, and they're simply just putting it back because it was too much. It's so insignificant though. It's literally the base damage is just going up by 5. That's it.
So is it the same thing that they nerfed the last time? They're just like fixing it? Is it going back to what it was before?
So last patch we tied a small nerf to Nami's E that when we adjusted her passive so that her power will remain at sea level. Turns out she actually sank a bit as a result, so we're reeling that patch of the change back in.
Is Freak writing these descriptions? Because like I feel like he
No,
is.
he's not. He's not.
Very clever.
Yeah, they try hard. All right, Nico is getting some buffs, I believe. Yes. Ooh, these are looking good. I know you like playing Nico.
I think like out of a lot of the champions in the game, she's probably one of my favorites, just like in general. Maybe not necessarily just to play, but I don't know. I just like her. Also, thick with 2Cs.
Oh my god. We're trimming down her thick hitbox to match those of similar characters and give her more access to tricks.
Nice.
So they're making her... I think this is what they... When she becomes another champion, they're making her thinner. Because like a hitbox radius is like, if you're a bigger champion, it's easier to get hit, right? So when she changes into some champions, it's kind of a nerf to her. Like, she has a bigger hitbox. Okay. So they're changing that. They're dropping out by 15 units. That's pretty good. That's interesting. Her Q is getting a damage buff. Nice. Base damage is going up by 20 at max rank. So again, this is the ability you max first. At rank 1...
That's really good for her.
At rank 1, it's still 40. But as you go up, see, 60 becomes 65. 80 becomes 90. 100 becomes 115. And then at max rank, it's 20 extra damage.
Nice. Yeah, that's really good for her then.
Extra damage is always welcome. And then her W cooldown is dropping by 4 at all ranks, which is pretty insane. So the ability where you, like, send a clone of yourself out, that's 4 seconds faster at all ranks. Okay. The other thing that's important, and this is kind of similar to these, to like, who did we talk about earlier that has like some cooldown changes? This is the ability you max last.
Oh, okay.
So 4 seconds off an ability you max last is fucking good. So, you know, it's like, oh, it would stay 20 seconds until you start maxing your last ability at level 14. So now it's 16 seconds. 4 seconds is a big deal. That's a lot of time. Especially like on ARAMs and stuff, you can just literally just spam that W out and people will attack the clone that's not actually a person.
That part's always the best too, because sometimes it's not as easy to tell that it's the clone. Like, I know I've had instances where I've like fallen for it and then I'm like, wow, I feel so stupid for doing that.
Let's see. Quality of life changes. When playing as Nico, your center HUD, the buff icons above your skills, will now always display your actual buffs rather than the buffs of the ally you are disguised as if using passive. Enemies who click on you will still see the buffs of the ally you are disguised as in the target UI at the top of their screen. I had no idea. That's actually pretty big. If I'm understanding this, and this is, you know, sometimes I don't want to take Tyler for granted because sometimes I read this shit and I'm fucking stupid and I don't understand it, and he has to explain it to me. What I think this means is what would happen is, so say if you're disguised as, say if you have a Blitzcrank on your team.
Yeah.
Nico is, so there's 2 Blitzcranks, the real Blitzcrank and then Nico disguised as Blitzcrank. And prior to this, if an enemy were to left click, and when you left click on an enemy, you can see their like little stat bar or whatever, you would see buffs that Nico had. So they could figure out who the real one is.
Oh, okay.
Now, the enemies see what the champion you're copying has.
Ooh. Tricky.
So like they'll look exactly the same.
So they won't be able to tell as easy.
Not until they hit you or use an ability. That's pretty cool. That feels like something that should have always been there. All right, we moving down to Nunu. And I did see this. So it says Nunu has been playfully towing the line into OP territory across all brackets for a while now. But this last patch finally broke, guys. We're bringing him. Last patch, they put him as William. Nunu and William.
I think they should change his name to William now, like forever.
Everyone from what I was reading on Reddit, everyone was like, oh no, Nunu got really hit with the nerfs, the William nerfs.
The William nerfs.
That was pretty funny. But
that's a little funny.
He's getting nerfed a little bit, it seems. He's a very oppressive champion, and in a game where basically getting dragons is probably the most important fucking thing. He's like the king. Him and Cho'Gath are like the king of taking, just because they can eat those champions. Their ability has an eat. His Q is called Consume, where he does extra damage to monsters It does a lot of damage and also heals him. So it's a lot of sustain. So basically what they're starting with his base stats, so his level 1 stats, excuse me. His health growth is dropping by 6. So he would gain, prior to this, he would gain 82 health every time he leveled up. Now he only gains 76. And then they add it to make it a little bit easier. At level 18, without items, he is losing 102 HP. Which doesn't seem like a lot, but there's items you build that will scale off that. So he has less HP, and I believe, maybe I'm wrong. I don't think his Q scales off how much health he has. Anyways, oh, never mind, it does. Well, it's bonus HP. All right, never mind. So his Q, which is his main ability that lets him eat jungle creeps, he can do it with champions. It heals him. It lets him take objectives a lot better than a lot of other champions. Is dropping by, I think it's 15. So let's see, how he's scaling. Wow, it's dropping a lot. So from 6, so level 1 is 60 to 45, so that's 15. Oh. And then level 2 is 88 to 66, 22. So it's going to keep scaling up. And, wow, this is actually getting hurt really fucking hard. So at rank 5 prior, it did 172 base damage. Now it's going to do 129 base damage. So that's losing 43. That's pretty big.
That's a lot, yeah.
And then they're also dropping the scaling ratios. So most of the abilities scale off the damage you build. So it's going from 72% ability power scaling to 54%. So that's dropping by 18% dropping down. And then it's also dropping, it also scales off bonus HP he builds. So the more health he builds, it does extra damage, and it's dropping by 2%. So overall, that's a pretty fat nerf.
Yeah, it seems a lot more than the other ones that we've gone through so far. Like, a lot of them are a little bit more slight, where this one seems like it's a lot more.
So overall, pretty significant hit on Nunu.
Yep.
A lot of, yeah. So
seems like the biggest change so far.
No, for sure. For sure. Just going back up and looking at this stuff, definitely the biggest change so far. Let's keep on moving. Kiana, passive AD scaling decreased. So this is a champion that for sure has a very high skill cap. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I've been watching a lot of that challenger queue. Is that what it's called? No, champion. Is it champions queue? Whatever that, like, a specific pro play, high elo, like, server that they're doing. See a lot of Kianas on there. They are changing the bonus scaling AD. I did not know it went off AP too. But they are dropping the bonus AD scaling by 10%. So 55. So prior, 55% of the attack damage you would build from items that's what it would scale off of. And that's dropping by 10. Now it does 45. Scales from 45.
So that seems like it's pretty decent.
10%'s a lot.
Yeah.
10%'s a lot. Especially on a champion that literally every item you build has attack damage. So he's an assassin, so it's pretty good. Moving down to Rumble. Wow, maybe the biggest buff of the patch. It's just like the Calista. It's just literally the Calista, like the Calista one. Base armor is going up by 5.
Oh wow, such a big change. Incredible.
He's a top laner. Last year he was really broken as a jungler, but he got nerfed to the ground. Normally he's a top laner. There's champions like Graves and Tryndamere, like the best fighting, like AD, best non-tank champions play top lane, unless you count the fucking support bullshit. But that gives him a chance. A lot of the time though, champion, like, there'll be maybe 3. Usually the mid laner's like the magic damage focus one. He does magic damage, so it's kind of, I don't know, at least for pro play, I don't see this guy coming back. But he's a good champion. 5 base, 8 armor. Yeah.
So keeps him relevant maybe, but maybe not like played more.
I don't think it's gonna
not do anything.
I don't think it's gonna do anything. Yikes. Okay. Okay, here we go. Roughing set.
Mama's boy. What the hell?
He's one of his quotes, he's like, I don't know exactly what it says, but he's like, 3 things in life I love is fighting, my mama, and like he like talks about like his mama. He's like, my mama be so proud of me. Like,
So it says that he's number 2. Who's number 1, Mama's boy? Is that a stupid question, or should I know that?
that's a good question.
Why is he number 2?
Who is number 1?
I don't even have the slightest idea of
It's
who that
probably
could be.
something super fucking obvious. I don't know.
There aren't really like champions that are like mother, son, or anything like that.
Oh.
So, like,
We're just stupid.
yeah.
We're really dumb, and we should have just continued reading. Just behind the new patch notes author. He's the number 1 mama's boy.
Oh, got it. Yeah, I was thinking it had something to do with the game, not something totally irrelevant.
See, Tyler would have definitely caught that and been like, hey, you're dumb.
You know what, Tyler? You need to just not be on vacation and come back.
You need to not go to Disneyland.
Without us. Rude. No.
So
yeah, I would have never caught that. I don't read. So
they're increasing his health growth per level by 7.
okay.
So again, at level 18, without items, he will now have 2,308 health.
Okay.
Move down to Vegar, who probably does need some nerfs because they buffed him, I don't know if it was last patch or a couple patches ago. Base armor decreased, armor growth increased. Okay, so that's an adjustment. And then E cooldown increased early. So, let's see. Dropping base armor by 2. No one gives a shit. But they're increasing his growth by 1/4. So, every level now, he gains 4 armor instead of 3.75. It's insignificant. It might level out a little bit here. So, at level 18, he'll literally have 2 2.25 extra armor. It's nothing.
So not that
It's
much,
not significant.
but just a little bit. A little bit of this.
Yep, Pykel. So, and then they are increasing the cooldown early on his E, the cage, by 2 seconds. So this is.
That's kind of lame.
It's again, it comes down to abilities that you level up. So you'll level up your Q. You don't level up your W. You know how Vegar works. Yeah. When he kills a minion, hits an enemy champion, or gets an assist, a kill or an assist on a champion, he permanently gains ability power. His W the cooldown scales based on how many stacks of that you have. So you don't even need its cooldown will drop a lot on its own as you farm, as you deal damage, etc., etc. So you level up your E second because the cage is really broken anyways. So since it's you leveled up second, that 2 seconds you're gonna feel it. It's gonna hurt early because you'll be like, level 1 your Q, level 2 your E, level 3 your W, 4 and 5 are Q, 6 is R, 7 is Q. So you won't start feeling. You'll feel that until. So it scales from 8. So prior it was 18 to 12. Now it's 20 to 12. So it won't be back to normal until it's max rank, obviously. So you won't feel that until level 13.
So that's a pretty big hit on him.
2 seconds is a lot considering an ability like that. That's pretty game. Broken. It's pretty OP, especially on ARAMs. Because I feel like there's a fucking Vegar in every goddamn game.
Almost every single game.
Yep. Let's see. Bug fixes. Fix Q. Tooltip to correctly state that last hitting enemy champions grants 1 stack of phenomenal evil, not 3. Okay, that makes sense.
All right.
Moving down. Almost there. How many more we got? Ooh, that's a big Zaya.
Okay.
E damage amp based on crit chance increased. Okay, so this is cool. So let's take a look. Deals per damage. Okay. So I'm trying to think of another champion that has an interaction like this where there's items that give crit chance. crit chance, when you crit, it's not necessarily, critting is just on auto attacks. When you critically strike, so like, I think all items that have a crit chance multiplier give you 20%. So if you build one item, you have 20% chance to crit. When you do crit, that deals, I believe it's 75% extra damage. So like, say if your auto attack deals 100 damage, when you crit, it'll deal 175 damage. That's what the when you critically strike. I hope I'm not fucking that up, because I know I probably am. But then there's another item called Infinity Edge that when you build it, it increases that crit damage more.
Damn. Okay.
So
that's pretty.
So her ability scales off of crit, her E, which is her main ability. So deals, it's going from 0.5% to 0.75% more damage per 1% crit. So if I could do the math, I don't know if I can do the math in my head because I'm fucking stupid, but each item grants 20% crit. So she gains 3/4 extra damage, 0.75% damage per percentage. So whatever 20 times 0.75 is the damage. I know we're doing a lot.
I don't know how to math. So
do you understand it though?
Yeah, and I understand the.
So for every 1% of crit, she's gaining 0.75. It's getting increased by 0.25%.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
So that's pretty good for her then, yeah.
There are ADCs that are way better than her, and I feel like she's only really good with Rakan. Whereas on the flip side, Rakan, I think, is better by himself. Well, Rakan, obviously together they're great, but if it comes down to a solo of either one, Rakan is the better one on his own. But good change. This is a big one. This is a lot.
Holy crap.
She's OP.
That's because she's like new, so then they had to make her overpowered to basically nerf her after.
Yeah. All right. So let's get through this. This will be fun. Uncharged basic attack. So I think I was telling you, her Q is her like, she has weird. Her Q is an auto attack.
Yes, I remember you telling me that.
So when you're fine. So like your Q is your main way to damage.
Yes.
So when you're spamming Q, but you have a basic attack, which is like when you right click on a minion and you just auto attack. She has a little zap thing that shoots out. When it's fully charged, it slows the target.
Okay.
But obviously you can use it before it's fully charged. It just won't slow. So let's move back up. Uncharged basic attack is dropping. Okay, so actually it's not all a nerf. It looks like a little bit of an adjustment. So it is getting hit. It's dropping by 5. And this is all between levels 1 through 18. It's dropping by 5 damage early. And then it's dropping overall by 15 at level 18. That's pretty good. But it does extra damage. These are things, sometimes I read these notes and I have no idea that these interactions happen with champions. So apparently, if you hit a champion, or when it says enemies, that applies to anything. Minions, monsters, champions. Yeah. Apparently she does extra damage to low health enemies.
So she's going to do even more damage.
Yeah, so she does 200% extra damage to enemies under 35% health. Okay. Charged basic attack. So this is the fully charged where it's a slow. It is dropping by 6 early, or 6%, so the slow scaling.
And then the slow is going to be less time now too.
Exactly. So it's going from 20% to 40% to 14. Okay, so it's getting an adjustment. They're called adjustments, where it's a nerf and a buff. So early, the slow is 6% worse. At max, at higher levels, because like I said, as you level up your Q, this is how it scales. It's getting 10% slow. They're taking away early game for late game. which is fine.
So,
it's an adjustment.
It's an adjustment.
And but overall, the slow duration is dropping by half a second. Half a second is a fucking millennia in game. Considering like Zonia's hourglass, like 2.5 seconds.
That feels like it's forever. Too. Whenever.
So half a second. That's fair. It makes it a little more fair. All right, Q, the burst fire. So it's like a triple shot, like your auto attack as you're spamming your Q. Not that much. It's dropping by 1 damage at rank 1 and then 5 damage at rank 5.
Okay.
Not that big of a deal. So let's see. We're getting an update though. Burst fire's critical strike now also multiply its base damage in addition to its AD ratio. Okay. Again, I wish Tyler was here because I don't fully understand this. Burst fire's critical strikes now also multiply its base damage. Okay, in addition to the AD ratio. Okay. So I guess it's just the base, the 9, 13, 17, 21, 25 can be affected by crit. Okay. That's interesting.
I've never played around this champion, so I don't know.
Okay.
I think maybe once. I lie. I think
no, I did. I played it. I think it was the first time I played it. And I got a pentakill on Aram. I got a pentakill.
Oh, I remember that. That was the other day.
Yeah, first time playing that champion, I got a pentakill. That's how it
broken.
Yeah. And then the other thing I do know is her attack speed is capped because her attack speed, I believe, lowers the cooldown of your Q because it's literally like on a second because your auto attack. Marksmen rely on auto attacks as their main source of damage. So you're sitting there queuing. If that could be max like attack speed, which is 2.5 attacks per second. Do you imagine how you literally give yourself like carpal tunnels, like going like that? So
that's to be annoying to play, like to be able to have like a normal like auto attack than to actually having to like.
It's new. It's something very unique to the game. There's no other champions like this, which is I don't know if I told you at the same time. There's a champion in Valorant. Their like Counter-Strike game, right? You know, like the shooting game. They released a champion. And it's the same voice actress. Okay. So she feels like a Valorant character is what I'm getting at. So it's a lot of like, oh, I'm gonna...
Yeah, she doesn't really look like a League of Legends like champion at all. Like
that's the other problem is like she's from Zon, so you give her like a little like punk look. I mean, she's cool. Whatever. It's sometimes when they release champions and they all are like human, it kind of gets a little boring.
Yeah.
But so anyways. She has a capped attack speed at 1.5 seconds. Every attack speed, anything that goes over that is converted into damage.
Okay.
Which is getting a 10% increase. So
she's still going to be broken.
That's a pretty good... I'd take, even though we're losing base damage, this is overall a buff. I don't like this. Okay. Her W, Ultra Shock Laser... Dude, okay, so this is massive adjustment. This is the theme for this champion. This is probably the biggest change of the patch. Her W is like, it's like the Jinx W. Shoots the laser out and it slows. So the slow duration is getting dropped early. It's dropped by 20% early, and then it scales back up to 70%. This is the ability that you max second. So you're going to feel... It's weak early, but then it goes back to normal, what it was the previous patch at rank 5. No big deal. There again, the goal of this is she felt too strong early.
I was literally just gonna say, I'm like, so they're basically making her weaker in the beginning, but having everything even out towards the like late game.
Because you don't want to give a champion. It's OP when a champion doesn't have any weaknesses, or it's just too overloaded the entire game. That's why I hate Yoni, because there's no fucking beating that champion at any points of the game. And then the cooldown is getting changed. So right now is 10 seconds at all ranks. It's getting changed to, and it scales down now. So it's going from 10 at all ranks to 13, scaling down to 9 seconds at max ranks. So again, later it's going to be better. E, Spark Surge. So this is like the grinding thing where she can hop over terrain and like, I don't know if you've actually seen this. but like all the terrain on the map, she can like chop over and grind over the walls of the map.
Wow.
Cooldown is getting increased later. This is a weird one because actually no, it's not a weird one. Do you max a second? I don't know much about this champion, but it's going from 23 to 17 to 23 to 19. Okay, so this I'm assuming this is the ability to level up last. Because as you rank it up, it gets worse. As you can see, so level 1 or rank 1 of this ability is 23. Mm-hmm. Rank 2, 21.5 to 22. 20 to 21. 19.5 to 20. So and then at max rank it's going up by 2 seconds. So you're gonna feel that. The cooldown reduction. So when you hit an enemy with abilities or your basic attacks, it'll refund that cooldown. So that's changing from 1.5 seconds to 1 second. So that ability, if you're like in combat and you're dealing damage, that ability comes up very often. Think of Morgana kind of has a similar interaction. When you hit someone, if you Q or W a champion, the W cooldown like gets refreshed. So it's kind of like the same interaction with that, where if she uses the ability, it goes on cooldown. If she auto attacks, uses her Q auto attack or any other damaging ability, that E cooldown will get refreshed faster.
Okay.
So it's going from normally you would get refunded 1.5 seconds per attack, and now it's only 1 second. So it's a little, yeah. And then her ultimate, which is just literally a stat fucking check that gives her insane movement speed. I think I've shown you clips of this champion zooming all over the fucking map. Aside from giving movement speed, damage, etc., it also gives attack speed.
Of course.
So that is changing from 30 to 40 per rank, and it's 30 at all ranks now.
Okay.
So a nerf. Overall a nerf. And then we got some bug fixes. Q Burst Fire will no longer trigger Navori's Quick Blade's passive to reduce the cooldown of Q Burst Fire. Okay, that's a very weird interaction. I don't think I need to go over that. There's an item that when you critically... This item, Navori Quick Blades, when you crit, it refunds the cooldowns of your basic abilities.
Okay.
So apparently there was an interaction where if you crit, your Q is an ability, but your auto attack, your Q would be up quicker.
Oh, okay.
But that doesn't make sense because that's not how that ability works. And then Tear of the Goddess now correctly treats Q Burst Fire as a basic attack and will no longer grant stacks when it is cast. Zeri's right click ability will continue to treat you as a spell. That's a fucking interesting one. That's a very interesting one. Tear of the Goddess is an item that grants you mana when you hit an enemy with abilities. And it stacks up to 360 mana. Mm-hmm. So basically what would happen is when you would use your Q, which is basically your auto attack, you could stack the tier by doing that.
Okay.
You're using your Q no longer does that. But the other attack, the one that slows you, this one, the charged, that is treated as a spell, so that will stack it. It's a slight little change and it's gonna make it a little bit harder to stack now. I don't think people build it. Tyler was really pushing Tear of the Goddess on this champion. Yeah, it's not a thing, dude.
Apparently, it might have been.
Apparently
it was.
Well, fuck me. Okay. So that is all the champions. You're doing good.
Me?
Yeah, you're doing good.
Okay, thank
yes, you. There's no. I'm talking about Sophie.
You're doing good. All right. 9:30.
Items. Ally items pings are now available. You can now display your allies' item cooldowns and charges in game by pinging. Oh god.
Well, that's gonna be toxic.
So I don't know if you. Okay, do you understand what this means?
So, like the.
Say you have Zonia's.
Hold on.
Let's do it.
I can do this.
You
I
got
can
it.
do this. So basically, if I have redemption and it's up, you can like ping it and tell me that it's up.
So
Like
that's
I can use it, or you can like ping the cooldown for me.
yeah. So if I want to,
Like if I accidentally use it, like I like fat fingered or whatever,
I would
you can like spam it being like, dude, really
90
like
seconds.
90
It'll
second
say your
cooldown.
cooldown of what it's
Yeah.
accurate. Same thing with like hourglass. Use hourglass. So you're about to go in a fight. I'm like, okay, when is my Morgana's hourglass up? I hit tab. I left click on it. It'll tell me the cooldown that's remaining.
Okay.
But no, it's gonna be toxic as fuck because
Yeah.
same thing with like, you know, if you flash, someone starts pinging your flash. Like, what are you doing, you fucking idiot? Like,
Well, someone did that to me recently. I think I had my heal up, and they pinged that. They're like, your heal is up, and I was just like, okay, well, they would have died anyways, but
it's.
so it's gonna be very similar to that. Like,
I think overall it's a good thing. It's probably more focused on pro play because pros track everything. So like when someone uses a flash, they're like, okay, flash is up in 5 minutes. They'll take, oh, this champion just used hourglass. We got to fight before the hourglass cooldown is back up.
it's probably meant to be like a communication thing. That way, like, you can let your teammates know without actually like having to say something. But
See the
in our elo, and like me especially, since I'm not even ranked anymore, I would 1,000% be like iron, but it's gonna be used in a way that it shouldn't be.
if you're not playing pro, this isn't a team game.
Yeah.
This game sucks.
Definitely not.
All right, rejuvenation bead, aka the anal bead, is getting a change. Gold cost is going up. So okay, the reason this is item, so it used to be, so it only used to cost 150 gold. When you start the game, you have 500 gold when you start the game, right? Normally you buy a support item and a couple of healing pods. What champions would do, some champions, the best one I can think of is Tryndamere. You could buy 3 of these and then 1 pot. So what this item does is all champions have, remember I was telling you, they have health regen per 5 seconds, which is their base. So like it'd be like, oh, you recover 7.5 health every 5 seconds. So what this item does is it increases that health regen by a percentage. So people will build 3 of them. Each one used to give 50% increase to their base. So it'll be, and I want to say it stacks, it like adds up. So it'd be like at 150%.
Got it.
So 350. So people will just do that, and you have a lot of healing, like basic healing.
Super broken anal bead. Got it.
So what they're doing now is they're changing it so people cannot do that anymore.
Okay.
So
that's fair. That makes sense.
So they're increasing the gold by double, so you can only buy 1 max now. But
So do you think it would have? They really needed to do that if they made it so you can only buy 1 now. Like, did they have to increase the gold if you can only buy 1?
Well, that's why.
Okay.
That's why you can only buy 1.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like
at the beginning of the game.
It literally like you couldn't buy another.
No. If you have 600 gold, you could buy 2 of them. But this is just for the beginning of the game.
Got it.
But they're doubling its. So even though they're doubling the cost, they're doubling the health regen effect.
Okay.
So it makes sense. And then the sellback ratio is getting increased overall. So a lot of times people would sell, this is a very cheap item, so especially when it was only 150 gold, whenever you didn't, you got other items, you just sell it. You'd only be losing, you'd get 70% of the gold back, which is 105. So now it just basically scales back to like, so because if you've ever noticed, if you sell an item, you don't get the full value. So it's just getting changed a little bit to accommodate the gold increase.
Okay.
But overall, you get more gold back, but it's more expensive. So it's whatever.
Makes sense.
And then a few things which aren't very important. This item builds into other items. And those are getting let's see. So Crystalline Blazer, a lot of the like in between items. So like this, and then a ruby crystal build into this item. So that's getting 150 gold increase because this item is 150 gold.
Okay.
So it just kind of moves up, and then same thing, base health. It's just reflecting the early the smaller items build. And then so this is like the basic item, the in between item, and the full item.
Okay.
So overall, basically the cost is not changing when you get to when you finish the item. It's not costing more money.
Okay.
It's just sort of the in between shit.
It's just to balance out like the beginning of the game, but basically.
Mm-hmm. Same thing with Warmogs. Combined cost is 500 gold, but the total cost is the same.
Okay. Sounds fair.
All right, here we go. This is probably the big one. So these are the changes to the support items. Basically, so champions like Karma, and I've seen Zillion too, because Zillion is a very overpowered support. They would take a support item. I don't know if you realize how support items work. You have to be in the vicinity of an ally to get the gold generation. Like, you know, when you would play Leona,
From the, yeah.
you could like execute minions, and then you both get the full gold. You can't do that if you're not standing next to an ally.
I remember that, yeah.
So they would take, Janna is the Spell Thief, which is the AP one. She would go top lane, and you'd take Smite just because you don't need another. It's just another thing to fucking take objectives. You're just trying to be very annoying, and you want to fuck over the enemy jungler too. You would get level 3. You have your basic abilities, and then you would leave and go mid. And you could, you know, get your gold from these items because you're standing next to your ally. And then you would just go back bottom, do the same shit, just annoy the fucking enemy team as much as possible. And it would have really weird interactions with bounty systems. I don't think you haven't played Summoner's Rift in a while. I don't know if I've explained. But when you're a team and you're far behind, and it's based off how far behind gold you are, the average level of the game, meaning like say a Tryndamere is level 18 and then the highest person on your team is 14. That's a pretty big discrepancy. Bounties would kick in, and you would get extra gold for taking turrets, dragon, baron, herald, etc., etc.
Okay.
So what would happen, and I said this earlier, support items or supports are very low income efficient champions. Support items are not that expensive. So when you're a support champion and you leave top lane, the enemy top laner gets to sit there and farm by himself free. Like, you know, you should be able to hit every fucking minion then.
Yeah.
So you're getting a lot of fucking gold. So what would happen is bounties would kick on for the team that has that support top strategy when they're not even that far behind.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
So the one thing I saw, this was like last month. Someone, I don't know, maybe it was Lorlo, which is one of the pro guys I watched that's primarily been playing this strategy. He I don't think maybe it wasn't him, but I'm just gonna say it anyways. But he was playing Janna top, and obviously he was far behind because he's a support. He doesn't get that much income. He had a Kog'Maw on his team that had 20 kills, and his team had bounties to get more gold.
Yeah.
That's fucking
That's
not
broken.
fair.
Yeah, that's not fair at all.
So let's look exactly what they're doing. Gold value bounties. Gold value bounties now are now based on the number of support gold income items on each team, rather than assuming each team has one support gold item. So if there's 2 support items on your team and you get bounties, the value of those bounties is halved.
Oh, okay.
So the game will recognize, oh, there's 2
That they're
supports,
doing that, yeah.
and you're not going to get as much money. I think it was half.
Ooh.
Are now based on objective bounties. Or, okay, gold bounties, is that, I guess that's champion bounties? I'm not sure about that one. Damn, I wish Tyler was here. Let me read this again. Gold value bounty, aka okay, CS bounties. Okay, got it. Okay, so CS bounties, based on CS bounties. Champions can get bounties. So obviously, if like there's a 10 kill champion on the enemy team, they're gonna have like a 700 gold bounty shutdown. So if you kill them, you get a lot of gold. But now, if you have 2 support items, it's not gonna work.
Got it.
So I think it's the same thing as like, which I think this means what I was saying about if you have a Janna, if there's a Janna, support top laner on the enemy team that just leaves, I'm the top laner farming free. I won't get a big shutdown because I'm farming for free. Because there's 2 support items on the enemy team.
Yeah.
Ejected Bounties. Enemy gold leads are now significantly less likely to lead to Ejected Bounties, activating if there are 2 or more support gold income items on your team. Same thing. So the turrets, the dragons, the heralds, the barons won't give as much gold.
So they're basically just trying to stop people from doing that.
It's probably still gonna happen, but it's not gonna be as effective.
Okay.
Support. I mean, it's still, if you have 2 supports, if you have a tank support and an enchanter, and you have a champion like a Jinx, like you just put a shield on a Jinx and she goes fucking nuts. And then let's see. Okay, the other thing, the reason why champions they leave top lane is because if you have a support item and you start killing minions, eventually the game recognizes like, oh, this champion's farming normally. It gives you a punishment for farming.
Okay.
So normally, right here it says receive diminishing gold. So normally, you would, if you had a support item, you could only kill 4 minions per minute. If you kill more than that, you receive a lot less gold. So like a melee minion, which is the guys in the front, they give like 19 gold. If yet penalty hits you, it'll give like 3 gold.
Okay.
So it's like, okay, you're a support, you shouldn't be farming.
Yeah.
So now they're changing it 4 minions per minute to 2 per minute until 5 minutes. So if you're farming early and you have a support item, it's double fucking you until 5 minutes, and then it goes back.
All right. Well.
This diminished gold penalty is now also more severe during the first 5 minutes of the game. Yeah. So it's
Really trying to encourage you not to do that, but you probably still will anyways.
At least in high elo.
Yeah.
But pros are gonna, it's still...
Until they find something else they can take advantage of, like when something else becomes a little bit better than that.
And then objective bounties. This was a crazy one. So let's say a team has, a team is super far behind, they get their bounties. It'll, like, there's a notification that pops up, like, oh, if you take all these, you get gold. Once you start, if the team starts catching up and gets those objective bounties, a thing will ding where the bounties are shutting off.
Okay.
Because it's like, oh, the game recognizes, oh, this team is coming back. They don't need bounties anymore. So, live, what they're doing is prior, it would give a 15-second, like, warning. But people could still get bounties in that 15 seconds. Which is stupid as fuck, because the game knows that you're coming back. Why are they giving you still another 15 seconds? They're changing that 15 to 5 seconds. So now it's going to be like, oh, objectives are shutting off, and it'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, instead of 1 through 15, like 15 seconds. 15 seconds is a lot of time.
I mean, I guess they still have to, like, notify you that they're getting turned off. So, you know.
It's, I mean, but it should literally just be immediate. Like, it should just shut off. Because I could be like, oh, I'm about to take a turret, or we're about to take 3 turrets, or like a dragon or something.
Let me see what I can do in these 15 seconds.
Exactly. So that's interesting. We're winding down here.
Ooh, Aram. Woo, this is my shit, man.
Honestly, we usually don't go over this, because, like, Aram, it's not that... It's a lot of shit.
That's a lot of stuff. I mean, if you guys don't normally go over, then there's really no point. But, I mean, who really is going to be like, oh, well, this is different in ARAM? Like, does anyone really pay attention to that?
There's a few champions. I believe, like, Evelyn is a champion I think of that deals, like, 120% extra damage on ARAM or something. Like, just because that champion needs to be invisible and it's really hard. So, it's like, there's a lot of stupid things like that. But they're changing a bunch of stuff. You guys can go read it. I'm not going through all this fucking changes.
Alright.
Ionia Cup, which is Clash. Don't need to talk about it. We don't play that. Behavioral systems. Intentional feeding detection. So they're trying to catch more people.
Finally.
They're trying to catch more people that are purposely ruining the game. But what's difficult, and I saw someone tweet about this, is they were doing the Janna support strategy. They got reported, Riot or like the report system thought they were actually intentionally feeding. When you play a support, sometimes you die a lot, right?
Hell yeah.
So the game, the report system thought they were intentionally feeding. They got banned. The person reached out to Riot support and was like, "This is a strategy. Look at all the pro players are doing this," and they didn't change the ban. The person got like punished.
I don't know. That's like kind of like an iffy one because like, okay, obviously the support usually could possibly like die more than other like players on the team because
Sure.
you know, whatever. But like if they're technically playing them top lane and they're not actually playing them in bottom lane, you would think that they wouldn't die. I don't know.
The
Wouldn't
other,
die as much,
well, if you're
but
walking around with your team, you're basically fighting the
yeah.
whole time. The other argument that I've seen is the only way this works, that strategy works, is if your team is 100% on board.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do this strategy by yourself.
Yeah.
You have to have a 5-man. It ain't gonna work. You know, if your team is again watching the champions queue, they're always like, "Hey, would you guys be fine if I do this strategy?" And if they say no, then just don't do it. They're not gonna do it. You got to be 100% on board for the strategy to work.
I feel like they just have to be more aware of like what's going on in the game then like okay, this is a thing. So they're probably not doing that and then if they feel like the person possibly is like intentionally feeding or whatever, then they can look at individual games. Like maybe it could flag it and then someone else could like look into it further or see if they're like talking shit in chat or whatever. But if it's an actual thing like that, you know, like pro players and stuff are doing, they should be able to recognize that. Like that person probably shouldn't have gotten penalized for
No,
that.
exactly. So, but I mean, I will take that any day. A change to I hate intentional feeders. They ruin the fucking game.
It's definitely something that needs to be changed. So hopefully
It's
it does
tough.
something.
It's hard. I don't know how. I couldn't imagine how they do try to figure this out, but
I feel like you could like if someone's just like running it down and walking under towers, like okay, well
I'm
that's
sure they have the
a red
technology.
flag.
I'm sure they have the technology to like be able to identify it, but apparently they don't because people that are trying that strategy are getting punished for it. All right, let's keep going. Personalization. You can now sort and search your summoners when selecting one to display. Okay, are now displayed informational to when you hover over them, so you can actually search through your icons. That's interesting. And then borders, which is someone people have been asking for this for a while. Is you can now select the border of your game. So like, well, I'm not gonna see it yet, but like, you're gonna be able to change like a border.
Okay.
You can more customization.
All right. Well, that's kind of
Which
cool.
is welcomed.
I mean,
Your selection will not appear in game loading just yet. So whatever, we're getting there.
but it will eventually, so that's kind of cool.
Let's see. I'm just looking through general bug fixes. Is there anything? Fix the bug? No, don't care. Don't care. A lot of these bug changes are some things that I've never fucking seen.
Mm-hmm.
Fix the define. Fix the bug. Fix the bug where Yorick's Maiden of the Mist would get stuck inside structures when walking near them. That's fucking annoying. Maiden will now be ghosted and move through structure. Okay, that one is good. So Yorick's ultimate, he summons his like maiden dude. Chick.
Lady, ma'am, maybe.
I don't know what they identify as. Whatever. I guess any
Maiden.
So it'll follow you around.
Mm-hmm.
So what would happen is it would get stuck on minions. I don't know if you've ever been playing and you've been minion blocked, where like you can't walk through minions. Like it'll take you in a crazy fucking. And it's killed people getting minion blocked. They get killed because of it. The maiden now is ghosted, and ghosted is a term where if you're ghosted, you can walk through minions.
Okay.
So it's gonna be able to just follow you straight up now. It doesn't like hesitate and like go in a weird direction. That one's pretty cool.
Oh, there's Gangplank on there.
Fixed a bug where Gangplank would receive a Tear the Goddess stack upon casting E Powder Keg. I did not know about that. That one's interesting. Let's keep going. I don't care. Says effect restored. Fixed a bug where Guys, if you really want to go through all this, there's nothing that's popping out at me aside from that maiden one. Um,
The best part.
Skins.
Skins and chromas. Now this is up my alley.
Admiral Renata Glass looks pretty fucking badass.
Who's that supposed to be next to her?
Just like some random
Just
Zon,
a random person.
Zon
Okay.
dude. Shockblade skins. These look kind of cool. They're
those are
ninjas.
cool.
Cassidon literally looks like Zed and Shen.
Oh, yeah. I would have not guessed that was him.
And then Kiana.
Yeah, okay.
And then wait, hold on. That is Shen. I'm stupid. But no, Cassidon.
That's why you need Tyler here, because I was just agreeing, like, yep, you are totally right, Dean.
No, but Cassidon is getting one.
Okay.
And then this one's cool. Firelight Echo. They've been working on this skin for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like arcane.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Got
And then
the little guys in the background, too.
and then Prestige, Brave Phoenix Eye. This skin came out like last year. Riot is getting really stupid with their prestige skins. Like they're making old skins like no, this is not old skin, but like, come on.
They're just not coming up with new ideas and just making it prestige. Like, okay, this will do.
They're I know they're revamping, they're changing the whole prestige skins and gemstone shit this year. So I mean,
hopefully I can get like the 2 or 3 skins that I've been wanting, because I don't have prestige points.
They're gonna be like rotating every month too.
Okay.
So it'll give you a good opportunity to pick up skins that you potentially wanted. Yeah, that's it. We made it. This was a long fucking episode.
You did it. I was just emotional support, but you did it.
Yeah.
So Tyler, you can come back from vacation now. I don't know if I'm fully equipped to do this, but maybe I'll be back eventually.
That was fun. I hope you enjoyed yourself. Guys, let Raeann know she did a good job, because I know she did.
I think I'm gonna just put like my face on Tyler's little like emote thingy.
Over his face.
Yeah, just for this episode. But not even like cartoon, just a normal picture of me, just like, hey. But yeah.
Other than that, we had our stream last Friday, and it was fun. We hung out with the Lorehead guys, and that was fun. Thinking about maybe streaming a little bit more often, maybe like once a week. Play with people. I've been playing a lot of Lost Ark. Maybe play that. Mainly play League, though. So be on the lookout for that. Guys, do me a favor on Spotify, Apple Podcast, wherever you listen. Can you rate us? Hit us with a 5-star. 5-star would be the best, but be honest. Leave reviews on Apple reviews. That'd be great too. Below, I have a link to our linktree, which is where you can find our Discord, our Twitter, our YouTube, our Instagram, all that stuff. Go ahead and click on that and join our socials. We're trying to grow our Discord, and if we get more people that want to play with us, we can have like fun game nights. Tyler and I kind of want to cast some games if we can get like a 5v5 custom.
I've been saying you guys need to do that for so long, because I feel like it would be so entertaining.
It'd be fun.
I would play ranked again just so you guys could cast my game.
Holy shit. Okay,
I would literally play ranked again just so you guys could do that.
We could do that. Oh, that'd be fun. But yeah, guys, that's gonna be it. Stay tuned for next week. I'm not sure what's gonna come out, but again, wish our boy Tyler a happy birthday, and as always, good luck in your games, and we will see you next time.